Well, you touched on this previously, and in this congressional meeting, there was claims of a cover-up. So David Grusch said that he faced very brutal retaliation as a result of his allegations. He also claimed knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in the course of government efforts to conceal UFO information.
Killed, he said.
Yeah. When they asked him, if anyone's actually been killed, he said yes. And he said, I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities. Now, the Pentagon responded, and they denied all of Grusch's claims of a cover-up. In a statement, a Defense Department spokesperson said investigators had not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. How do you know they're lying? Their lips are moving. All right. So, unfortunately, the person who made that statement, who was a spokesperson for the Aero office, that we have had a number of our top secret witnesses go through, either is not informed of what has been provided to that office in a top secret SCIF because he or she didn't have a clearance, or has been directed to say this with knowledge of forethought, which is a damnable lie. What Mr. Grusch said is true about that. And while he had secondhand involvement with those folks, as I mentioned, we have over 700 firsthand people that I have debriefed over the years, and people much more involved than anyone that he had access to. And we're asking for a mechanism for these people to safely come forward without being killed and without being threatened or being imprisoned. So I think that, the fact that there's a statement coming out from some bureaucrat at the Pentagon is not evidence. It's a polemic. It's a rhetoric.
I mean, overall, when you look at this whole congressional meeting, did you learn anything from this meeting, or was it all stuff that you already knew?
Oh, no, it was all those people like Fravor I had already debriefed. Grusch I'd met with and been in communication with for a year and a half almost. No, there was nothing at all new there. In fact, what everyone on my team thought was it was the biggest nothing burger ever because it didn't even scratch the surface. But, at least people like Congressman Burchett and Luna and Moskowitz and people like that I've met with are trying to get to the bottom of it. But it's such a complex problem. And I want to just say this here. The closer you get to the truth, the less believable it is. And in 1991, as a young emergency doctor, I'm a ER trauma doctor, when I started digging into this, I had a member of the intelligence community say, if you tell the people the actual truth about this, it discredits itself. It is so bizarre and it's so unbelievable that it discredits itself. So the truth is actually stranger than the fiction that people are being sold. For example, most people wouldn't imagine that in the late 50s, early 60s, we had man-made UAPs with things that look like aliens abducting American citizens. We do, and we can prove it. All right, so this kind of stuff is something out of science fiction, you would think. But it makes total sense if you understand what the long-term agenda is. Two points of the agenda. One, keep the technologies under wrap, except the ones we want to disclose, such as fiber optics and integrated circuits, what have you, that were in part empowered by studying extraterrestrial material. And then number two, present a false threat from outer space so that, as Ronald Reagan said, we can unite the world around an alien threat. Okay, so there have been a lot of programs, abductions, mutilations, disinformation, psychological warfare campaigns that have, and Hollywood movies and internet shows and, series on tabloid TV that have always presented the boogeyman alien. Well, they're wanting to create a new boogeyman because the only way to unite a bunch of squabbling primates known as Homo sapiens, they feel, is to pivot towards fighting something out in space. So that is a very dangerous and stupid game, but that's the long game they're playing. I can assure you that is the long game. Don't forget, Werner von Braun, who invented the rocket for Adolf Hitler, on his deathbed, told a member of my team, Carol Rosin, who was his assistant and became the first executive in the aerospace industry who was a woman, said that they were going to stage an alien threat, and it was all false, and it was a big global power grab, and it was all a lie. Now, we have this on record from her. She's up there in years now. I think she's about 80. But Werner von Braun died, of course, in the 70s. But before he died, he shared this. Now, I have heard this from multiple people who have been very high up in the aerospace and the intelligence community going back to the 40s, 50s, 60s, who've dealt with this issue. So while it sounds outrageous, and it is outrageous, it also happens to be true.